All right. Welcome back to another episode of the cheesiest podcast on the planet. Conversation Saves the World. So it's your hosts, Kyle, myself, and Joey. And we have a special guest today, Carl Furlough, CLA Pro, also known as, go ahead and give yourself a little introduction, man.
What's up, everybody? To your viewers, thank you for having me, Kyle and Joey. I really appreciate this. I'm grateful for an opportunity to express my voice and my perspective.
It's a pleasure.
Truly an honor. Truly an honor. But I'll just give you a little bit about me for those who don't know me. Classically trained actor, professional producer, television film producer. I've been doing it for the better part of my adult life. Going on 15 years now, and martial artist as of recent, and father.
I've been seeing that.
Yeah, man. It's been tough during the Corona age, man. Trying to train.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick holes in the wall. You feel me? No, I'm a hard worker, man. And art is my love. Art is my form of expression. How I handle. Being human, handle being a black man, you know what I mean? Handle being a father, artistic and creative way. You feel me? It's a lifestyle for me. It's just not me creating projects for someone's consumption. No, this is what I live, this is what I do.
That's awesome.
Okay.
For sure. But enough about me. You feel me? Honestly, I know this is an interview, you feel me? But I want to know, you know what I mean, what brought you to start this? I know we used to talk about the podcast and whatnot, but like, what was the catalyst for this? You know what I mean?
So
okay, I'm gonna start this off, and then I'll have Joey.
Okay, I got you.
So one of my it kind of became like a young adult adolescent's goal was to get a podcast going, and I actually had a couple tries myself. People may have or may not know. I was just doing it myself off of Anchor and whatnot, and then Joey came, and then we decided to do this before all this. Like, I don't know, it was during the same time as coronavirus or before that, but coronavirus hit, the George Floyd situation hit, all this stuff. So then we kind of revamped it back up, and we've been kind of going a little hard at it lately.
Yeah.
And just to add in there too, me and Furlough right here, we had our little dabble into a podcast and whatnot. He actually came over one time, and we tried to record off of my terrible system I had, and we just couldn't do nothing, man. We couldn't do nothing. But Joey, take it away with what your idea was behind this.
So basically, I was watching. It was right at the beginning of COVID. So I'm seeing people doing Zoom calls. I'm seeing people starting podcasts. And I'm like, why not start one? And then Kyle and I, we usually have great conversations before COVID hit and before he moved. We'd work out together. We'd go to like a Starbucks and just talk and have conversations. And so I was like, why don't we just have our conversations filmed or put onto a podcast and just see what happens and bring people on just to have conversation. And I felt it was a perfect moment since COVID just hit. Everyone's got time. And I was like, let's just do it. And I found Zoom, and Zoom, I'm able to record everything, and then I can go in, edit everything.
Hey, we don't need to give away the blueprint, but
it's definitely. Sure. And then with Kyle moving and everything, we took like a month and a half off, and now with everything going on, like Kyle said, we've revamped it. We want people to have a voice. We want people to keep a conversation going, especially with everything going on. So,
especially with everybody trying to conversate on social media rather than talking. This is as close as face to face we could probably get. So. But let me start out by asking you a couple questions, man.
For sure.
I want to ask you, because I personally know about your producer career, which I think is like you're one of the coldest out there. You know what I mean? I don't know why you slowed down. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say you stopped, but you slowed down.
Man, life.
You know, like where can we hear some of that music at? Where can we get some of that?
Man, on the music side, I'm actually getting back into the music side. I've been researching different instruments that, albeit like the MIDI players and things like that, or keyboards, because I've been trying to focus in on making melodies. You know, melodies is something that was my strong suit when I was making.
Okay.
Not so much as the drums, but melody, I got you. But no, for sure. That I'm getting back into that, but right now, I'm really focusing on what I can do, what can I produce that can give the masses, the majority of people that are hurting, you know, give them a voice, you know, what we're doing right now. But I have my podcast, Art Live Life Podcast. You can find it on the web, artlivelifelifepodcast.com. I am on Instagram as well, CLA_pro.TV. You can see most of our production photos and other videos, and you know what I mean, like that. That's where you can find most of my stuff, and on YouTube, CLA Pro. All of the things we've been doing over the years, my team and I, whatnot. But yeah, man, just trying to be consistent. That's all.
Yeah.
Really.
Consistency is the key, man. And one of the things I remember from your like artistic profession, I would call it, is like you are very professional with it. You know, some people do it out of their basement. I do all my stuff out of my room, you know. But I remember when you introduced me into your world, you know, you had the studios, you had all this going. Like, are you on Spotify? Are you on Apple Music and things like that too?
Apple Podcasts. Everything is on for the podcast. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. All, you know, I started on Anchor as well. You know what I'm saying? So and they just grew from there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll make sure to have all your links and everything in the description of the YouTube channel. So either send Kyle all the links or send me all the links, and we'll put it in there. No problem.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll do it.
Cool, man. Cool. And we definitely check that out. I also have a question about your mixed martial arts career that you're starting.
Man.
Been, you know, keeping a close eye on you on social media, and I've been seeing you throwing them high kicks up there. You know,
bruh, like it's. I remember after taking my first class, right, and I was out on my balcony and just, you know what I mean, practicing like some of the steps, and I was thinking like, I really have to make this a lifestyle. You know what I mean? It makes it no consequence to practice something that is powerful as martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt that because I've always been an enthusiast of some sorts. You know what I mean? Growing up watching Bruce Lee, you know what I mean? I became a fan of it, and so now getting to practice is another. I can tell that it's another way of discovering your human potential.
Okay.
You know what you're capable of. So, like for instance, I was learning the axe kick, which is it's just like you kicking your heel up as high as it can go. And that's what you're striking your opponent with. And you're generally trying to strike them right here in the head.
Damn.
You know, think about how high you have to kick. You know what I'm saying? So, but I never knew I was that flexible. You feel me? Because, I mean, I've been in situations where I had to be flexible, but not to throw a kick. You feel me? So, you know, go figure. But from that moment on, I never questioned what I could do. You know what I'm saying? I never questioned like the impossibility of things or of situations or of emotions or mentality. You know what I mean? It's just there's so much to consider. You feel me? And in regards to martial arts, when you're facing your opponent, right? There's so much to consider. But you only can consider what they're showing you. And that's much like life. You know what I mean? Look at your cards. You mean what I mean?
Right. I mean, knowing your position, right? Knowing what you
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I got you.
And we can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. My bad. Joey over here actually got me. So I've boxed before amateur, not like in a ring, not just guys getting together in the neighborhood, just throwing punches. But Joey over here got me into boxing. Have you dabbled in that at all?
That was the first of the martial arts that I've tried. Was boxing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's just I was just too young. I think I was too young to even really care about it. You know what I mean?
It's
But
a,
it's
it's a,
kind of hard.
it's
Yeah, go ahead.
unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate that COVID hit because, like, I just got started in working out. I did boxing as another way to, get that, just to learn something new. I mean, it was not something that I was always interested in. It was just
Right.
something that, why don't I just go try this, do something that's not comfortable to me, get myself out of my
Exactly.
comfort zone and try it.
Exactly.
And it was a lot of fun, but COVID hit and now it's just been, I can't go out.
Right.
And then just being home is just, it's,
Tough.
I've completely stopped. It's just,
Yeah.
the motivation went away.
That's a part of the game, ain't it?
Sure. Yeah.
I got a question. I got a question for you, Furlough. Is so COVID obviously affected the entire world. I want to ask you, because you have a great mindset about facing these adversaries, right?
Right.
And like I want to ask you, like, how did COVID affect you as a man, and how did you find ways to overcome that, or how did you get beat down by COVID?
Okay, so, well, as a man, how it affected me, it made me occupy this primal space. You know what I mean? Because obviously there are, people that have bit the bullet to COVID and are no longer here with us. We share, all compassion and sympathy and empathy to their families, right? But seeing all that happen as a man, it was just like, I have a family to protect. I have to protect myself so that I can, continue to protect my family. And I never stopped. Nothing in my lifestyle ever stopped. There are certain things I couldn't do, of course, but I was always out in the street, always, working, doing those things. But when doing that as a man, operating in this kind of climate, like it felt like the wild. You know what I mean? I know it wasn't as deep as it could have gotten. You know what I'm saying? We could have got hit way worse, but we didn't.
Which it's still kind of on the rise right now.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. But no. So that's how it just. In short, it was just a primal space. I was always really aware of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And that is exhausting. You know what I mean? Just always, just as a black man, one more thing that you have to look out for.
Right, right.
So
okay.
There's that. Now, the hardest thing about it, not only as a man, but it was messing up my money, man. It's killing my pockets.
Yeah.
Killing my pockets, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. Now I'm spending less money. I've learned how to spend less. You know me? Just being in the house, it's giving me. Me and my wife talk about this all the time. Think of everyone in the house. How many things you found yourself doing, as a result of being in this space. Getting creative and how to pass your time. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it made me realize how much I really didn't need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I became a sort of pseudo minimalist. You feel me? You know what I mean? In some sort. But yeah, that was the silver lining in it. But at its worst, it just affected the bottom line, man. And it's just money. You feel me? It's just money. It can be brought back. You feel me? So I really wasn't tripping. I knew it was going to be tough at the onset. And then once everything plateaued and we kind of got a handle on it, or something else happened where
right just the media marketed a new headline and everything. That was about it.
You know what I mean? And we are so easily manipulated. It's sad. God, it's
that's for sure.
It's incredible. Yeah, go ahead, man.
You were talking about we were talking just last night about that quote, right? That humans are easily manipulated, and you were talking about it from a book. That you were talking about Sapiens, right?
Yeah, Sapiens.
Okay,
very good, bro. It's a brief history on human beings, our species, and I want to put very real emphasis on our species because there has been multiple different species of humans that have lived on this planet.
Right. Neanderthals,
the
all types of
Neanderthals.
stuff. I'm
You know
already
what I'm
knowing.
saying?
Yeah.
And all these different human beings, right, sapiens, had different qualities to them. For us, why we're still here, because we knew how to use this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We might not have been as strong as the Neanderthals, but we can outwit them. And that's why we want to lay ass out. You know what I'm saying? So, and it gives you a take on a logical perspective of what we are and what we've come to be. Where, because it starts off as, okay, collection of atoms, molecules, organisms, cultures, right?
Right.
That's where it sparked. That's when everything. That's where history comes from. Recording of our cultures. Yeah. Culture is nothing but a group of organisms who share similarities. Now,
on the most like simple terms, right? On the most
simple terms. If you just like down to the the minutest. If you're explaining this to a 2-year-old, this is all we are, man.
Right.
But and with that perspective, just reading that little piece in the book just gave me a realization, like a lot of the stuff that we're going through, a lot of stuff that we see is not really that deep. It's not really that deep. No. You know what I'm saying? Like what we think we care about, what we think like, for instance, like new Jordans, right? New Jordans are coming out. Or the next hot phone, the next iPhone. Why do you need another? The iPhone 10, my iPhone 10 works perfect. Why do I need an iPhone 11, 11 Plus, XR, all that? It does the same thing. But it's something up here that we figured out how to, again, manipulate us in a way that we serve individuals. Yeah. And that's really what the book is about. It's showing us, exposing us for who we really are. Right. How we created all of these things in order to serve something else.
Right. Taking that narcissistic value of ourselves and exposing it, right?
And exactly. Just to comment on like the phone stuff and all that, I feel like a lot of social media and a lot of people flashing, hey, look, I got the brand new phone. Hey, look, I got this. And people start to compare and we're like, well, now I need that or I need that because someone else has it. But when, again, with this whole COVID, everything, I think people are starting to realize, no, you don't need that. They're starting to realize what's more important in life than just these materialistic things.
You're good. Is that the baby right there?
Yeah, that's my son. He's wow.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. I think I wonder, how long that mindset will collectively last, right? Because we go through things all the time, like World War I, World War II. People, after the second one, people knew wars were just the worst thing that could happen, right? Economically, there's a different story, but like from the human perspective, right? Wars are just bad, right? But now that we've gotten so far away from World War II, we're starting to be more warmongering. You know what I mean? We're training kids at a young age with Call of Duty, and Grand Theft Auto, how to just be violent, and desensitizing ourselves from that root understanding, you know what I mean? So like I said, I wonder how long that will last, of a mindset, of a collectively shared mindset.
Well, there's this catalyst, George Floyd and countless others. And for the life of me, I can't figure out this one thing, man, about this whole situation. Countless people have been, been killed and abused by, authorities, right? Whether it be the police or on up, right? But why George Floyd? Why right now? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, COVID had a thing. They had this. I'm thinking, like, if COVID was never here and George Floyd still happened, like, would it still have the same effect?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's really bugging me, to think about the progression of events, and then another black man dies, but now we're tired.
Right. Okay. So, as a segue into that, right?
Yeah.
I want to get I want the viewers to get a understanding of where you're from and where you live. Not a specific area, but just kind of a general over synopsis of where you are in the world.
Like geographically.
Geographically, you know what I mean, neighborhoods and stuff like that, just to get for the viewers.
Okay, so I not occupy, because I say occupy because we don't own anything.
Yeah, own nothing.
That's why I say occupy. But and it's key to understand that. What I mean? You don't own anything. You just occupy stuff. So out in the burbs, man. And I used to think that I wanted to live in the city again, right? I wanted to go ahead and move to Chicago and take part in the city life, right? But the more I stay in the suburbs, the more I appreciate nature. You know what I'm saying? And love the fact that I have trees and have a backyard that I can go play with my son in. You know what I mean? And get dirty. You feel me? And then, COVID happens. And it's just like, that's the worst place you want to be, is in the city. You know what I mean? So, but right now, I'm liking this area where I am, man, because not only is it's a quality neighborhood, and I deem quality somewhere that you can lay roots and you feel comfortable walking outside, you know what I mean, and taking a jog, whether that, you know what I'm saying, whether you're a black man, white man, red, whatever, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? That's why I identify quality of the neighborhood, somewhere that you can actually live and exist in. So in this place, it's just nurtured me. It really has. I never really thought that, being here in this environment where it's mostly Caucasians, mostly well-to-do, individuals, and it really has, the energy has nurtured me in such a way where I know that if I was in the city, I'd be feeling totally different in this climate. Okay. Like if I had to, go ahead.
So the city, right? Referring to the city, what city is that?
Chicago.
Okay. So Chicago. Did you grow up in Chicago?
I was a kid, so I really don't remember much of it. Okay. When we moved out to the burbs, I always kept roots in the city. I was always visiting family and things like that, so I got to see a lot of stuff. And then once I grew old enough to drive and be independent, I got to see a little bit more and expose myself to what individuals in the inner city have to go through, and what do they see every day, what their lifestyle is like. But not so much as not growing up in the city. No, my mother. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was getting that perspective out because even being in Chicago in general, right? Yeah, it's a completely different perspective that I don't think our viewers have been exposed to yet, right? So whether you live there, grew up there, or you just visit, you know what I mean? The portions of Chicago that may be less endowed, right? You got the poor parts, you got the richer parts and stuff like that. You got the segregation that is talked about in Chicago. That's the worst in the nation, Yeah. I would just be assuming that you have a better perspective of that than most of our guests.
I would say because I did get an opportunity because I wanted to equate myself with the city more, because I felt like I was disconnected from my home. You feel me? Like I felt like I wanted to see the city more. I wanted to get more acquainted with the neighborhoods. So I started driving for Lyft, right? And doing that, I've got to see so many conversations with individuals from all kinds of backgrounds, people who've traveled the world and claim Chicago as their home from different countries, and hearing them say that this is the best place that they've ever been, they've ever lived in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And having those perspectives, and having that experience, it really made me grateful that I was born here in this state. Because you could have been anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? Right. But we're all where we are, and as a result, now we've been able to connect. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's a wonderful thing. Just being able to do that and explore the city and meet different people, and that gave my perspective on the city something of much more quality. Like now I can have an in-depth conversation about the different neighborhoods of Chicago, different streets, where to go, where to eat. You know what I'm saying? And it's a wonderful thing to have that knowledge. You know what I mean? And if you want to talk about knowledge, you know what I mean? I think that that's the best thing that we can do right now is pass the information so that people can
try to understand, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's really a beautiful thing, just being able to connect with people, learn people's stories. I think that's why I love this podcast so much, is just because I get to hear so many different stories of people and learn their background. It's really a beautiful thing when you actually get to sit down with someone, learn about them in a space that's just neutral.
It enriches your life, I think.
Yeah.
It really does. Because look at how much you can learn from someone.
Yeah.
Like I have a brother of mine, I consider a brother. He just got out of prison, right? And I went to go see him, you know what I mean, just to, lay eyes on him, make sure he's okay. You know what I mean? Just to get a general sense of his mind. And he explained to me that was the best thing that happened. Now it's
just having that ability just to vent, right?
Yeah.
To be vulnerable and to vent, right?
Yes. It's just being sat down. You got to sit with everything a culmination of your life that led you right here, and you got to fix it. You got to do the work. You know what I mean? It's important that, and here's another thing about the book. Hold on, my dad was calling me.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
You got a nice little shot. So there.
Yeah, but no, this is another thing. The book Sapiens was explaining is that when we made the jump, the huge leap from the middle of the food chain to the top, right? What changed for us is the fact that we started to perceive that if we worked harder, it would enrich our lives. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that we want, we just have to work hard for it. And once we get that, you know what I mean? We're able to gather and not so much hoard our desire, our needs and our desires and our wants, but it enabled us to get it faster. And sacrificing, you know what I mean, time and your physical, you know what I mean,
and almost create like a certain bit of like excess, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So like doing hard things in order to make everything else easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I want to dive right into it, right? So let me ask you, because you said something about the timing of the events, why George Floyd, different things like that. Go ahead and expand on that real quick.
Because I'm thinking, man, this hasn't been like breaking news. You know what I mean? This is something that's been happening for 450 years, right?
Yeah.
On different scales. Right, exactly. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about in this country, you know what I mean? 450 years. Pretty much, you know what I mean? Just our entire existence here has been of abuse. And we can go down the line and talk about, you know what I mean, some of the atrocities. But right now, I just don't understand why it took this man to be killed for everyone to tune in, and now everyone's waking up. So this is why I think that there's more to come from this, especially it being an election year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Think of all the people that have been killed over the past 4 years of this administration by police or been abused by police. But why this brother right now? You know what I'm saying? And I honestly, I have no answer to that. It doesn't make sense to me. But if I were to tell people, I would just be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Just be on the lookout. Stock up. You know what I mean? And I tried to warn people. You know, I did my best to warn people before all this happened.
Right.
So look, they're going to shut the country down. You know
it's
what I'm
a big
saying?
wave coming.
Yeah, it's a huge wave. And I even had people to go as far as like, who are you getting this information from?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm telling you something. You see, it's clear that something's happening, right? And someone who I wouldn't lie about this, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't tell anybody something that I knew for a fact was about to go down. You know what I mean? So, and this person who I was telling did know this about me. And I'm just like, look, man. And now when it did happen, it was funny just to see this individual. Like, it was funny. It was like, look, bro, I told you, like, what you,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But no, so I think that among all of this, you know, this chaos and when we're talking about adversity, and I think for Black people specifically, because we have such a gritty and just, you know, tough is an understatement, but just a raw, like, tortured history of adversity and just pain and, you know what I mean, everything, you know, in a negative. That has made us so much stronger. So much stronger. And we're still here, right? I was told, I forgot what I was reading. I think it was some dark psychology or something, and manipulation. It was talking about the more adverse the situation is for individuals like us, people of color, it's almost in our DNA and in our genetic makeup to thrive in adverse situations. You know what I'm saying? Because that is so much of what we've been for 450 years. It's a condition. It's in our genetic makeup to thrive in adverse situations. So when stuff gets hard, we're like, this isn't hard. This is something we've been dealing with. You know, we've been dealing with the worst. What's worse than being killed? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feel me? What's worse than doing that? And having that feeling of being, not even being scared, but just like, when I go outside, I might not come back home. Just knowing that. You feel me? And I don't think of a worse way to live. I can't think of a worse way to live. But at the same time, we're some of the most ingenious people and most artistic and just enlightened people. You know what I mean? The most kind and most giving and most peaceful people. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There's some motherfuckers out there that become some bullshit. There's everybody. Everybody's got their people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's more Caucasians on unemployment than Black people are. I don't know about the numbers now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Before all the onset of all this, there were more Caucasians that were on public aid assistance and things like that than any other demographic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's more about tuning yourself into, you know what I mean, what the truth is, and not letting somebody else determine what the truth is for you. And doing research, reading books, and just giving yourself an opportunity to, you know what I mean, to have a better existence. Because you can look at all this negative, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there, right? But I think it behooves you, man, you and your ancestors, your bloodline, because you are a long line of people who have survived, right? And now you're
and that's something deep to think about. That's something deep to think about. I talked about in a previous podcast with just Joey and I. But Joey, you seem like you had something to say.
Yeah.
There.
So I wanted to comment on the why now, why with the George Floyd thing. And I'm wondering, because I feel like it's because life basically stopped. COVID hit and life took a pause. So beforehand, unfortunately, when people were dying and everything from police brutality and everything, it got covered, but then it got lost in the shuffle with everything else going on in the world.
Exactly.
Now we have COVID going on, and hey, everyone's on social media now, everyone's home, and then they see this video and they actually take the time to stop and look and be like, this is disgusting. This is awful.
Now everybody has to see it.
Now everyone has to see it, and
now shoved in your face, right?
It's being shoved in your face, and since nothing else is really going on, that's the story. That's what's being focused on, and now people are like waking up and like, wow, I didn't even realize this. Like, it could be something like that.
It could be, And then it was this thing like, okay, it was talks about the country reopening, and then here comes this situation. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what is happening? And a side note, man, I don't know if you guys heard about this. It was like, if one more thing could happen, scientists, I don't know if you guys saw this meme. I don't know how true it is, but I just thought it was funny as shit. Scientists uncover a cave that was covered was sealed up for like 5 million years. Right?
I didn't see this right there, man.
I haven't seen that.
I saw this. Keep going.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is this?
Did you guys hear that like meteors or something were coming towards Earth too? Like,
that's. I don't think that's new though.
So on to more conspiracy talk. With all that going on, I heard, right? And this is a big thing that I've been studying, right?
What's up?
And this is an offshoot of what the actual point is. I want y'all to think of what is the significance of 0, right? A lot of people default to Jesus Christ, right? Because it was before Christ and all this other stuff. But seriously think about what is the significance of 0, right? So now, off of that, some 1,500 years ago, and I do not know how credible this is. I'm going to sound like an ass just even saying this. But I heard that when we switched to a certain calendar 1,500 years ago, we lost about 8 years. So this being 2020, it's really 2012 in a sense. And Mayan calendars, all this other stuff says that, 2012 was going to be the end of the world, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Look. Conspiracy, we can talk about this all day.
Yeah.
Like I said, I sound like an ass saying this because I do not know the source. I want people to look this up and prove me wrong. But like, I'm serious.
Wrong.
Like, that right there, that one shocked me a little bit.
Man,
I've also heard where it's like next year, it's just because they flipped it around. It was actually supposed to be 2021, but they flipped it and actually said 2012.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of like weird little things, and that goes back into our manipulation, right? They can manipulate us with just simple numbers, counting, like that.
It's so deep, man. And sometimes I feel like should I just go off the grid and just live in the wilderness? Like there's a guy in Alaska that's been living in Alaska by himself off of the land, and he has this really simplistic way of living. He goes and does like maybe 4 or 5 things every day, right? Mm-hmm. And he has this incredible list of movies that he watches based on the kind of mood that he's in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To counteract the mood that he's in. If he wants to feel happy, he'll watch the such and such. You know what I'm saying? But I think I still have that. I want to get you guys that because the movie list is incredible.
Okay.
It's wild. Although Friday is not on that list, I'm trying to, what I mean? Like,
try to get them in that box, right there.
Right. You know what I'm saying? There's no hood classes on there. I'm like, you missing brothers, boys in the hood, like let's stop.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah.
One of the funny things, because I study theology like crazy, is one of my favorite topics. One of the things in the makeup of monotheism, right? So let's talk about Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all these different things. One of the it was like trades in a sense, like simple skills. Every prophet would like try to hone into. There was 3 of them. I can't remember the third one, but one was archery because of the sustainability of archery and how you can, hunt with, you can make your own bow. It's sustainable. It's a sustainable way to hunt. And horseback riding. Those only 2 I can remember right now. I can't remember the third. But those things are very sustainable. If you follow these practices, right, it should help you live off the grid, right? If you decide to go that route,
right.
But it's really interesting that even 2000, even before that, people are coming saying that these are the 3 things. Like I said, I can't remember the third. These are the 3 things that you will profit off of if you learn, for a considerable time of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I think it is important to have some skills. If COVID has taught anyone anything, is to be more flexible. You know what I'm saying? And be more diverse in your skill set.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I'm trying my best to learn how to grow plants. It's not working. I killed my first plant already. So I
Hey,
mean, but
it just takes practice.
it does really takes practice. But just learning new things, man, and taking the opportunity because the world has slowed down dramatically, man, and we don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And it's like been soft openings, restaurants are opening and people are flocking to these restaurants, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Fiending to get out of the house.
You know what I'm saying? But like for me, like I've never not been outside since the onset of it, and I've been fine. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I had checkups and stuff like that, but I mean it's neither here nor there. But I think that there is something more to come from this. There is something, you know what I'm saying? Like even for Black people, I think this is the new Black Renaissance, man. I'm going to an event tomorrow where some of the surviving members of the Black Panther Party are going to be there. And it's going to be a joyous time, I think, because I'm seeing events pop up left and right of individuals that look like us coming together and trying to figure out what it is we need to do to move forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and just to go deeper into the Black Panther Party of what I know, because I know there's a lot of people out there who don't know about the Black Panther Party. From what I know, the Black Panther Party was an organization that came together to help the impoverished community. The Black Panther Party actually didn't specify themselves only to Black people, is what I know.
Right.
And they were handing out meals, providing lawyers to people who were in judicial trouble and whatnot. And it was very progressive from what I hear. But in the same coin, the U.S. government decided to mark them as, in a sense, one of the biggest threats to America, like at that time, which is pretty interesting to say as well.
Right. It's man, I mean, just think about it. Like, if we were to come together, right? And I would just watch this video of this woman explaining the difference between a protester, a rioter, and a looter, right?
Same video.
Yes, it's so good, such powerful information and the truth.
Definitely link it I'll link it in the bio for everybody to see.
She told the bold, plain, cold truth, man, about it, and I stand with her 100%. But in regards to like the Black Panther Party, I think I've been talking with a few individuals about this. There needs to be a conglomerate of people that are going to come together for the welfare of the majority of people of color, because obviously everyone can't lead. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want everyone to lead. Everyone doesn't want to lead. You know what I mean? Some people are just good at taking directions and executing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this is essential right now. This is a perfect time for us to get our leadership together. For those who are the real leaders, because you can look at all these celebrities who are plainly just quiet. You know what I'm saying? They just not talking about anything. And I know Oprah was having she did have her town hall meeting, I believe. But I'm like, what? I mean, she has so much power. Why are you just talking about it?
Yeah. There's
so many CEOs. The CEOs of Reddit stepped down, and he wanted some, I guess the not shareholders, but the board to replace him with a Black man, because he said he didn't want to have his son look back and ask him, what did he do to help?
Right.
So you're seeing that all over, you know what I mean, from different companies. Not everybody's doing it, but I think it really started with the Minneapolis mayor. He called out the prosecutor by name and said, there is no reason why this officer should not be prosecuted. Prosecute him right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How many people have done that? How many politicians have done that?
And you know what I would say the toughest factor of that movement that's going on right now is to find the right leader, right? So in an analogy, right? You got Michael Jordan. Whoever's seen the documentary, which I haven't seen so far, but I definitely need to watch. But I know a decent amount about Michael Jordan. You got Michael Jordan, who assembled a team of position players. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody on the team wanted to be Michael Jordan. You know, I bet they wanted to be, but they Michael Jordan did not allow that, in a sense. And I think that's what allowed
Right.
for the success.
Exactly.
Had, right? You know, I heard one of the things, I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast with Kevin Hart. I think everybody should watch that. It's a great
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen that one.
Great little set. But they're talking about the Michael Jordan doc, and he's saying that Michael Jordan, like, one of the mentalities he had towards his teammate was like, if I pass you the ball, you better make this bucket, or I'm just not passing you the ball again. I'll find someone else to do it, you know? And that mentality of, like, I need to win, like, it's either champion or bust, right? It's either I win or I lose. There's no second place, right? And that mentality, I think, is, in a sense, one of the hardest things about this, right? Because let's say you find an African American to fit the position, right? The CEO position or whatever. Is it just like, are you trying to make this person a Michael Jordan, or are you trying to, you know, fit them into a position where they need to play, right? And then are you going to put an unqualified person in the head of a company so the company fails? You know what I'm saying? Just to show something, you know what I mean? But you know, that's the thing. Is this just for show, or is the intention actually to create a difference in that economic diaspora, right? Because there's a huge gap in between.
Definitely a possibility.
Right.
There's just so many possibilities of things that could happen with all of this. Again, you know, we keep on touching on, like, what's coming next.
Right.
There's so many different outcomes that are going to happen, and it's.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen?
So,
I think in terms of police force and all that, I feel like a new system is going to be put into place. I feel like more schooling, more stuff is going to be put into place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I feel like this is a huge issue, because, you know, lawyers, they go to and learn law for X amount of years and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like a similar system is going to be put into place. I wouldn't say like the same amount for lawyers, but maybe like 2-3 years of going through, learning about this stuff, learning about, you know, maybe even different cultures and stuff, just to get an understanding, so that when a cop is out there, he or she isn't making the same mistakes that have been made for the last however many years.
For sure. And with that, with that training, that will weed out a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Want the position for the ills that, you know, they'll be able to execute. Yeah, for sure, man. I think that along with that, the police force, and California is defunding the police force as we speak.
Minneapolis is taken down. They're disassembling the structure of the police department to implement a more public safety type of thing. But this is my thing here, right? So I'm going to go on a big chain of events, right?
Okay.
And follow me on the thought process here.
Okay.
So with everything that is just absolutely ridiculous that is happening, right? I think that this is, everybody's been learning about, and I hate using this word. I don't have hate in my heart, but I just really, really, really do not like using this phrase, right? But like everybody like has heard of the New World Order or the secret societies such as the Illuminati, globalism, different things like that, right? These things have been taking place over time, factually, right? We all know that this is an irrefutable thing that is happening, right? And so I believe that let's say when the coronavirus started hitting, right? They're showing us that the ways of the past can be no longer, right? Just like how we used to torture people in a square, we can't do that anymore, right? And you know, people are in that primal state, right? They're in their primal realm now, right? People actually have to, in a sense, be clean in their own home, right? They have to do things that, excuse me, this pandemic is like kind of forcing you to pay attention to, right? And then I would say a lot of people that I have talked to, and even personally throughout this entire year, in periodic times, you know, people are becoming much more emotional, I think, in like maybe a depressed sense, because they can't do what they used to. They don't know why, you know, a more vulnerable sense because the trust between the government and the citizens is almost like not there anymore, right?
Yeah, non-existent for sure.
So now George Floyd comes into the play, right? And George Floyd is not the epicenter of the problem. I don't even believe slavery is the epicenter of the problem, right? These are factors that play a large part, right? But George Floyd comes and gets exploited by his death, which I do not wish upon any person on this planet, because his name almost will not be put to rest in 2020. I do not believe. And so now people have a reason to be empowered, right? To get their emotional track back on state. I'm doing something that is good, right? I'm getting rid of my depressed state of COVID-19, and I'm doing something towards the country, towards my neighbor, this, that, and the other, right? And so off of this, I think that we're being manipulated, like you said, psychologically by our emotions to get to a point, which I think that they are ahead of, which I hate using that word they as well, which I feel they are ahead of, right? To implement these new world order kind of procedures in a sense. Like, you know, I don't know what's coming next, but like, think about like how we've just tried to adapt to COVID-19 by not going outside, by airplanes are getting filled by 60 to 50% now. You know, people are not supposed to gather in large numbers because of this thing, right? Now you got the George Floyd thing coming. We are disbanding the police, or like, you know, the police system, right? So this is all means for something new to come, right? This is for something new to come. The new world order, in a sense, right? This is almost even making cash obsolete. People don't want to touch cash anymore, right? So what is it? Cryptocurrency? Is it a chip in your hand? What is it going to be? But like I said, I feel like this is all systemically put in place to get to the position where you can put these things in place without question, you know?
For sure. I think that, you're saying something there. I was talking to my uncle, who is a state trooper, and he was talking about when the government does something, they rarely overturn it. You know what I mean? So, like this whole stay at home, or, you know, essential workers, you know what I mean, social distancing, that's going to be our new normal now. Yeah. This is not going away anytime soon, maybe never. You know, I could be wrong. We could be, you know what I'm saying? It could, you know, open fully or whatever, but, you know, this thing has scarred us in a way where now we're aware of it, just like how the invention of the microscope has made us aware of germs. You know, now everyone is, you know, of course everyone's washing their hands, but now that COVID, you know, happened, and because of the knowledge that we do have about the, not the subatomic, but the microbiological ecosystem that we occupy, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like that's all we really needed to issue is something like what you're talking about, the New World Order. And I think it's making room for technology as well, because this was happening, we're still taking those astronauts up there, and they weren't social distancing. They were in that capsule.
Not at all.
The Space Dragon, SpaceX Space Dragon. It was You know what I'm saying? Like going to the next, you know what I mean? But they probably took measures so that they weren't exposed. Anyway.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, no, I get what you mean, though. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it definitely is getting to a point of uncertainty, which could bring so much chaos.
Yeah.
Right? It can bring so much chaos that there is an influx of a need for order, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the scariest thoughts I think us as American people can have today, or even as human species here on the planet, you know?
Not only that, man, but like think about where technology is going, man. I'm an avid researcher of technology and investor of technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this company I invested in, Vuzix, right? They are a hardware-based company that created augmented reality glasses that they are now using for surgeries in certain hospitals. You know what I'm saying? So AR and VR are about to take the market by storm, when I tell you. Like, because I've played VR. I actually own a PSVR, and I enjoy playing it. I love playing it. What, all the time? No, because I even just, you know, once I'm done playing or whatever, it does feel weird.
Yeah.
Because you literally spend your time, your entire being in another reality. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not like playing, you know, I'm playing mostly like tennis games and stuff like that. But really cool games, you know what I mean? But it takes you out of your entire realm, dude. Like when I tell you, it feels like you're actually moving. Like I got motion sickness from this car game I was playing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is
pull over, huh?
Let me stop. I'm trying to get out the car. Well, no, it's funny. But it's man. And there's another company that it's what's the name of it? It's a 5G company, right?
Okay.
The biggest I think is Xiaomi or something like Xiaomi. Xiaomi is the biggest manufacturer of cell phones in China, right?
Okay.
And man, bro, like when I'm telling y'all, the 5G technology is going to take. Okay. Think about this. Think about this. We're transmitting data, right, in megabytes.
Yep.
Right, megabytes. Right. That's your home. You probably upload, download 10 megabytes. That's generous, right? With 5G, gigabytes, we are going to move to gigabytes up to 20 gigabytes. You know what I'm saying? That
20 gigabytes, 20 gigabytes, like a millisecond.
However, we're doing it now. Like I think it's a second, bro. Like
it's a second. Like
20 gigabytes.
So I work for AT&T. So whenever we do internet, it's like 50 megabytes per second, 1,000 it's we're giving out 1 gig speeds right now a second. So it's
I think about 20 G. Like that's when it's really up and running. You know what I mean? So, but what do you do for AT&T?
I'm just a sales consultant. So basically, you come in, I'll give you pricing on phones, internet, TV, all that stuff. But
I know how I go, bro. I used to work for T-Mobile already.
So it's just all that.
Yeah, bro. Like, but this is going to be an interesting time for technology, man.
And I will say, with COVID and everything happening, I have still been working throughout this whole COVID thing. I didn't stop working, and it's because I was in a technology communication business, which I'm very grateful for. But it's been crazy.
All
right. So we are approaching a minute or hour 15. All right.
Wow.
I wanna close with a question, right?
Okay.
Close with a question. You guys feel free to answer. So I want to ask this, which I asked in the beginning of like the COVID-19 pandemic hitting here in America. I had a Facebook, still have it, but it's just not as
active,
profitable as it used to be, right? But I asked this question. One, has anyone personally, right, personally been affected by COVID-19, or have you known anyone that has personally been affected by COVID-19? And then, on top of that, Furlough, I'd like you to answer this one. How does the George Floyd situation make you feel as a Black man?
I'll answer the George Floyd one first.
Okay.
Man, it's sad. It's just sad that that being the individual that I am and done the things that I've done and loved people how I've loved people, to know that I can go out of my house and be shot dead or abused and my rights abused just because someone is taking orders or they're operating on their own behalf to discriminate and be racist. And the thought that, you know, I can spend my life giving to people and my life be taken away from me, from which I've dedicated to people, right? That thought, you know what I mean? It bothers me, it bonkers me. It's just like, what is the purpose, right? It's really, it confused me. It made me more militant. It made me wake up to the sense that it's really kill or be killed out here. You know what I mean? In the sense, these bills are going to kill you or you're going to pay them. You know what I'm saying? The police are going to kill you or you're going to stay out the way or you're just going to cooperate and do what they tell you to do. You know what I'm saying? Your job can kill you. You know what I'm saying? Spending 30 years and not being fulfilled and not being happy and then turn around to try to retire and they let you go. You know what I mean? 75% of your benefits. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much in the literal sense, but in a metaphorical and you know what I'm saying? It's just, it really, if in a sense, in one phrase, in one word, in one sentence, almost like, it made me more aware of my existence and my place in the world, how small I am and how great I am. You know what I mean? So there's that. Your first question. Can you hit me with your first question again?
Yeah. So the COVID-19. Have you been personally affected by COVID-19, or known anyone who has been personally affected?
I know several people that have been personally affected. A couple that have been family members. I've actually had a family member die from COVID. That's what they're saying she died of. She had other illnesses.
Right.
But
peace be upon her. But in short.
Yeah, in short, for sure. But me personally, man, it's just made me a stronger person. If I had to say it, man, it just made me a stronger individual, more mindful of my existence, more mindful, and grateful that I'm here, man. And grateful that I get to do things like this. I get to get up and practice every day. I get to wake up 3 or 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And exercise. You know what I'm saying? I get to go around and take smoke breaks. You feel me? Because I love smoking weed. You feel me? But I do, and it provides me with so much inspiration, and it gives me the tools I need to deal with myself and my demons. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because everybody has something that works for them. Some people have religion, some people have their family, some people have their jobs. Some people have, you know what I'm saying? They have their trade, whatever it is, they have their thing. You feel me? And it just made me give myself the confidence to do me. And that was my phrase for all of 2020. I know, we've always been talking about doing me. But now for me, I know what it means. I know what it means to do me. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what else is going on. As long as you're doing you, you're fine. Until you can't do you no more, that's when you cross that bridge. And that's when you're here. For sure. In short, man. But
great answer. Great answer.
Yeah.
For sure, man. Thank you, Nob. I do thank you guys for having me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been a joy.
I mean, it was a pleasure having you, man. And you know, I think a lot of people can benefit from what you specifically have
Yep.
said.
Exactly.
And what you brought out of this conversation, you know.
Appreciate that.
So again, thank you for, you know,
Yep.
allowing us to have you.
Yeah, thank you guys, and keep going, man. I'm looking forward to what's to come for this podcast, man. I'm gonna be watching you guys avidly. You know what I mean? Listen
All right,
to
man.
it avidly, man.
Yep.
For sure. One hand washes the other, man. We gotta support each other
Yep.
and lift each other up. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way we're going to succeed. I'll leave you guys with this. The only way that America will ever be great is that if we make all the losers winners. That's the only way we'll be great.
Love it.
Strengthening our weakest links, right?
Yep. I
I
love
like
it.
that.
Yeah, making each weak link strong.
I like that. I like that.
Great, man. Only way, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I guess we're probably approaching an hour and a half, maybe. I don't know. But so again, we want to thank you for coming on. We want to thank everyone that's been watching and listening. Again, if you want to be a guest on the show, you are more than welcome to. You just got to let me or Kyle know, and we'll schedule you a time to be on the show. We want to hear you guys' voice. We want you guys on here. So, but in the meantime, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right. Peace, light, and love.